We're sitting here talking with Jeri
Wahinehookai.
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 Wahinehookai. That was close.
Yeah. Like I said, it took me 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can see that. So you must come in contact with a lot of weird and very interesting creatures.
Yes. The universe is full of reality is far stranger than fiction.
Yeah, definitely. Now, have you worked with people that have been attacked by other wizards or warlocks or witches, that sort of thing?
Oh, yeah.
Not passed on, but in the actual now.
Like bad medicine?
Oh, absolutely. There is the issue of curses and attachment and psychic attack and that kind of thing, and spells, is a very real situation, very ongoing. And in some cultures, they will go to a curse maker like some people go to the drugstore. Yes, we have dealt with many different types of cultural practitioners. Voodoo, Muslim, an Arab who was born in Latin America. So we had kind of a combination of Muslim hocus pocus. Every culture has their own variety, their own flavor of hocus pocus, if you will. And practitioners, we've dealt with Palauan practitioners. There's quite a few Palauans here. There's a lot of Filipinos here. And, yeah, we've encountered some curses, witches galore. That's male and female.
It's interesting. When I was at Salem, Massachusetts, and I thought that it was going to be this really yucky, dark place, but I was so amazed at how I found the place to be incredibly light. And I loved the energy of Salem, Massachusetts.
Huh.
I thought it was a very incredibly light place.
From what I have seen on television, like a documentary, they literally utilize their history to create a tourism atmosphere.
Yeah, it is.
And make light of it, for the most part.
Yeah, they do.
Which is fine. I mean, what happened is over.
The best way to release that is to release it.
Absolutely. Turn it into humor.
Yeah.
The one thing dark ones don't like is laughter.
Well, it's funny. I had this debate because I have come in contact with spiritual people that have absolutely no sense of humor. And my guardians and helpers,
well,
one of them in particular, the green dancing woman, has the most absurd sense of humor. She just makes me laugh all the time.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Totally
so
irreverent. Yeah, and I thought to myself, well, somebody said to me, well, that's your personality coming out. And I'm thinking, well, if it is, give me more of it. Because laughter makes me feel a lot better and really has carried me through tough times.
No, many of our guides, as well as the guides of our clients, have come through with some of the most funny statements, humorous statements, and we say to the client, please understand, we're not making, because some would think you're making fun of them, and they're sitting there in an emotional state. Please understand that many of the guides, ours and yours, have a great sense of humor. And one thing that will lighten this energy is humor.
Well, I remember the green dancing woman saying to the red grandmother, and she said she has a lot to learn, and if you don't make her laugh, she's not going to learn anything. And I looked at both of them, and I said, "Excuse me, I'm here," and they kind of looked at me and went, "No." So, you really don't have a point. You don't have a voice right now. We're debating you. And I thought, well, okay.
You're a student. You're the Sheila.
I just sat back and thought, okay, well, when you guys are done, just let me know.
Yeah, you just sit there and do as you're told. We'll be through in a minute.
And the green one kept throwing jokes at me to keep me entertained while they discussed me.
Yeah, we will deal with you in a minute.
Yeah, it was the most bizarre, but yet I didn't feel like I was of no account. What I felt like was a child learning.
And to them, you were.
Yeah, exactly.
Humility comes in very handy in cases like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't take offense.
It certainly takes one a lot greater distance if you have humility than if you didn't.
Absolutely.
Let's say you're living right now in a fear-based place where you're really one of the dark carriers, I guess, and you're knowing what it is that you're doing, and you're doing it because you enjoy doing it. And if your life was to end today or tomorrow, is that going to carry over in the next life?
If you're a dark-based, fear-based, doing dark things,
Yes. Is that going to carry over in the next life?
it can. That's a decision made by the individual, soul spirit.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
If there's unfinished business,
Right.
chances are it's going to carry over into the next or next beyond life. Because eventually, we need to address all what goes out comes back.
Yeah.
Whether it's the very next life or the one that after that is your own journey, your personal decision. And there are no judges that decide you've done wrong things and you need to pay this much, you need to be punished. That is all done by the self. Self-evaluation.
Yeah. I got in trouble once with a few light workers when I made the comment that the best thing for one to do is be whoever and whatever it is that you are, irregardless of what that is.
That's absolutely true. I've had people who were told from a reading or something that they were an evil witch in a past life. I said, it matters not.
Yeah.
I have only one question for you then. Did you do it well?
Exactly. See, now we think alike. That was my thing, because I said, whatever it is, be the best damn one that you can possibly be.
Absolutely.
Oh, right on. Oh, we think very much alike. I like that.
Yeah.
The person I'm thinking kind of looked at me and went, I don't believe that you just said that. Well, if that's your journey, that's your journey. Live your journey. That's the most important thing. Live your journey.
Well, most people do not understand or agree that Hitler's journey is equally as valid as anybody else's.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate to those in the earthly plane, I was there myself, who might be looked upon as his victims, although there is no such thing.
Exactly.
Technically, if you take it to a higher level.
Yeah, because they're where they were supposed to be.
He has just as much right, and he is just as sacred in the scheme of things as anybody else.
Yeah. That brings to mind one of your chapters in your book is about serial killers.
Yes.
That's got to be a weird chapter.
I dedicated that to my grandfather. But serial killers, early on I started reading things about it or watching movies about it. Just a fascination for the whole psychology, psycho-spiritual aspect of it.
Is this like a woman thing? Because you know what? I hear so often from so many women, like at least 20 that I know of offhand, I can say,
including the one you live with,
including the one that they had this fascination with serial killers.
Yes. Well, for me, I think it has to do more with my work. Like, what makes them tick? Why does that happen?
Yeah.
For other women, I'm not sure. Maybe it has to do with actually women are pretty much responsible for raising people.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
that's true.
What makes that happen?
Yeah.
Is it something that happened to him in childhood? Well, yes, of course.
And I think part of it could be a decision-making process. We talked about this on a previous show. Everyone in their life makes a decision whether you're going to walk in the light or not.
Yes.
And it is a conscious decision, whether people believe it or not. And my fascination always has been for the ones that walk in the dark. At what point do they step over and say, this other person's needs are not as important as mine? I can shut that off.
Right.
And I become the best that I can be, in this case a serial killer, but how they can do that, because I don't have the capacity to do that. But who knows previously what my capacity was.
Well, my particular feeling about serial killers is that many, many, many of them, I would say the majority, are dealing with full-on possession. Many of them are MPD, multiple personality disorder, and that comes from being abused as children. The common thread with MPDs is that they were sexually molested as children.
And almost 90% head trauma.
Yes.
That
some
seems to
injury, some kind of this or that has happened to them, illness, injury.
Mm-hmm.
And dark entities can come into someone or gain possession at various intervals in their life. It can be ongoing, too, into a next life.
They seem to like Caucasians.
I don't think they like anybody that they can get.
Well, no. I'm speaking from a demographic point of view. Yeah. They're usually white males.
Yeah.
Yeah, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking
And I
spirit.
do
Yeah.
feel that possession is very much involved in that activity, them actually doing the crimes. I mean, they have been, which I talk about in my book, they have been quoted as saying things like, I did not kill that old woman. I was downstairs standing on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
And I don't know why the practitioners don't have a clue, except that, I mean, some do, very few. Most of the time, they're just very closed to the whole idea of ghosts and deceased persons having any activity in this dimension.
So what
They
can
have a lot.
Yeah, what can one do? Because I was just looking at the time and think we've got like 20 minutes left here. What can one do if somebody out there is thinking that they've got somebody else in their head or in their body, in their realm? What can they do to get rid of it? Or is there something they can do on their own to get rid of it?
The very first thing they can do is call on the assistance of Archangel Michael, unless that is just a foreign concept to them. The angelic kingdoms, I have found anyway, are here to serve mankind, and they serve all cultures. They come in many forms, whichever form you're most familiar with. And Archangel Michael has a name. They have names for him in every single culture, whether it's Native American or Greek or what have you. But he's in charge of the armed forces of the angelic kingdom, if you will. He is the one who deals with darkness and demons and war and battle. And you just call him in. For children, we say just call the big blue angel. And ask him for divine protection now. If you want to use the energy yourself, you don't want to identify or work with a being, activate the highest divine rainbow light. That quickly, just say it. And surround myself with the highest divine lavender gold frequency. The chances are when you have something pretty heavy or serious, it's personally karmic, and you might need to go a little farther. The process that we use is in the book. There is a whole chapter called Toolbox with various tools in there to give assistance for certain things. Self-explanatory. That can be helpful. Or find a practitioner that has been referred to you by someone who has had a successful experience. Because there are many practitioners who do clearings, but then there are clearings and there are clearings.
Yeah.
There are those who profess to do clearings and are not necessarily.
We're just
Here,
making $20.
Yeah. Here, when you have a new house, new this, new that, they say, oh, yes, we must bless it. The issue is not about blessing. It's about clearing it first. That's what makes it safe and clear for other people to then inhabit. Just doing a blessing over a property or on a new building or a reoccupied new owners is like putting a Band-Aid on a wound that hasn't been cleaned yet. It will fester.
That's what's underneath that needs to
so
be.
A clearing first, then a blessing.
See, I used to think that, this many years ago, that there was really only one evil in the world, and that evil was possession.
Wow, that's interesting.
Is that would you classify possession as being evil?
I would say that's probably pretty close, but not necessarily absolute. I haven't thought about it.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, is there really any absolution?
In that sense, before a great deal of it can be attributed to outside influence. Ultimately, always caused by yourself. People say, okay, well, if the serial killer if the killing was done by the entity, then you don't punish or blame or jail the owner of the body. I say, no, you do, because that person also needs to take responsibility for the entity that he has allowed at some level to attach to him.
See, that was my next question. Was that
okay? There are no victims. So if you were sexually molested as a child, and that's where you were first made weak, and the attachment process started there, you chose that experience in your life to counterbalance something you have done in the past yourself. So no, they do need to take responsibility, but it also doesn't mean they can't be healed and educated.